Hi there, this is Ron Rogers, and I have some more cheap airline pilot stories. Now, this one has to do with a friend of mine, good friend, longtime friend, and we'd go out for lunch. They moved away now, but we'd go out for lunch, and he'd call me up and live just down the street from me, and he says, "Hey, let's go out for lunch." And I go, "Sure. Where are we going to go? Are we going to go Chili's, Applebee's, the local pizza place?" And he goes, "No, we're going to go. I want to go to Costco." And I go, "Costco? Well, I know they have they have a little cafeteria thing, but it's usually, pizza that's been setting in a thing for 3 hours or hot dogs that have been rolling since, last January." And I said, "Oh, okay, if you insist." And I go, what are we going to do?" And he goes in there, he says, "Oh, I'll show you." And in Costco, they have all these little food stations set up, and that day they had about 4 or 5 of them, and we kind of would make the circuit going around and sampling some until we had enough food that it actually would qualify as lunch. So okay, now if that isn't a cheap lunch, I don't know what is. Now, my friend and his wife didn't shy away from spending money on houses or toys, and they've got quite a few nice places, and we're at one of the vacation houses, as it were. And we go out there, and he gets in the van, and he says, "We need to get some gas." And I look over, and I see the needle absolutely on empty, and I go, "Well, okay." And it was night, and we're in an area that is not heavily populated. I mean, it certain spots it is, but you can go a long distance before you find people. And I'm not going to get too many details, or you know who this guy is, but we're going out there and we're driving up the road, and we're about to go past a gas station. And I said, "Hey, there's a gas station. You needed gas." And he goes, "Well, that one's 10 cents more a gallon than the one up here." And I go, "Yeah, but we're sitting on empty, and we've been on empty for a while, and we're out in the dark middle of nowhere at night. I'm not sure we'll make that other one." He goes, "Okay, okay, I'll turn around, but don't tell my wife that I bought the more expensive gas." Okay, yeah. Well, you probably heard the story of guys who, there's always an extra roll of toilet paper there for very good reasons in the hotel room, and they'll take and, acquire toilet paper and bring it home. And of course, the same thing with light bulbs. They'll go and they'll bring their burned out light bulbs, replace them in the lamps, and take them home. And these guys probably loved it when they went to LEDs, because you could really get some nice lights there. And the hotel probably wondered why they put in LEDs and they ended up with incandescents. Yeah, a little bit devious. Now, this one I must admit to myself. We would buy Dial soap. Never any fancy soap, but I'd go to those hotels, and there was one hotel that we stayed at in Des Moines, Iowa, that had mink oil soap, and it was the nicest smelling soap I ever had. And I would like those low bars, and I would bring those home. And the other ones, they would have some really cool soaps. And they would have all sorts of smelly stuff and flavor stuff and neat stuff. So bring those home, and it was kind of a treat. And after decades, the wife gets used to using little soaps. Well, there's a danger here. You probably are aware of this, and you might even see this coming. There is a big danger here, because what happens is you go out to a regular store, and your kids see this. They see this in the counter, and they go, "Look, mommy, giant soap." And yes, and of course, I retired almost 10 years ago, and it took several years to go through the collection of little soaps here. Okay, I'm giving myself in here. I never said that I didn't have some, aspects of being a cheap airline pilot. Soaps is one of them, I must admit. I think shampoo too. But we knew one person. They collected them. They put them all in one bottle, and we thought that must have been an interesting fragrance. But there was one case that a fellow crew member actually got into trouble, and what they had done was, and I guess they had done this more than once because the hotel was on to him. It was not a pilot, it was another member of the crew and they must have done some work on this, but they took a comforter off the bed and put it in their suitcase. Well, like I said, the hotel, I think, they'd done this more than once, because before that person got on the bus, the hotel came down and said, "Hey, we want to look at your bag." And she had put a comforter in there, and I don't remember exactly how that came out, but I don't think it was very good. Um, Not a good thing at all. Now, there's another story I heard of, and I don't know this personally. I've not known anybody who's been involved in this, but you got the hotel room, you got the carpeting, it goes under the bed, and supposedly there was a captain who would move the bed, cut the carpeting from under the bed, move it back to hide it, and was able to actually completely carpet a family room. Now, how he got that piece of carpet, yeah, must have done some folding to get that in, but apparently he did this enough to get that. Home. Now that would be, I would think that'd be rather dangerous because it doesn't take, Columbo to figure out, well, who was in this room then, and go through that. Of course, I guess it takes a while to discover it. Now, the thing about beds on layovers, we had this one New York hotel. We've been out of it forever, but early in my career, we stayed at the Milford Plaza, which people referred to as the Mildew Plaza. It was one of the places in New York that I think they rented rooms by the hour because you could flick through the channels, and there's one channel that was an adult channel, which is kind of interesting as you're just flipping through the channels and you didn't know about this. But apparently, in one of the flight attendants' rooms, the flight attendants were complaining about an unusual odor in the room, and finally they looked under the bed and found a dead body. Yeah, yeah, that was the whole. Fortunately, the hotel committee got us out of that hotel a long time ago. But anyway, those are some cheap captain stories. I hope you found it interesting and enjoyable. Thanks for watching.